Alright, game of the day 28, a little bit more Firebrand stuff. So a few build things I want to talk about coming out of yesterday. However, first of all, here's just a bonus clip that I think will be quite interesting. It's another 2v2, and I'm not in any way saying that what I'm playing right now is meta, but it is a curious one because I engage here, I'm capping the node, and this Firebrand comes at me, and this is a meta Firebrand. This is a support Firebrand, and he's even running Mercy here, right? So, we're seeing how we do against him. He's got the sword instead of like a mace or whatever, but it's pretty meta as far as I can see. So, I go into F1 to see how much pressure I can deliver. And he, of course, counters it with a ton of cleanse right at the start, which is perfectly fine. Some of you guys on yesterday's video commented, you know, about essentially, in broad terms, you guys were talking about the vulnerability of only having like one damaging condition instead of a widespread, and the access to cleanse and stuff. But, you know, hopefully this kind of shows the reapplication. We're not even in F1 right now, and we're getting 6 burns. Now he's gone into his F2, and he's got lots of cleanse there. And I get a Scourge assistance. Sorry, Reaper assistance. So he immediately kites, and I think, okay, good. So, I can rotate out. That's fine. And, you know, he can grind that down. I've already blown a lot of pages and mantra charges there. But as I'm leaving, I realize an enemy Reaper comes in. So what we've got here, guys, is actually a mirror matchup. Firebrand Reaper plus Firebrand Reaper. The only difference being that I'm not raw support. Oh, wait. If this is not the clip, then I'm wrong. So my Reaper dunks that Reaper straight away, which changes things quite heavily, to be honest. No, but my Reaper's still got tons of health. All right, maybe this isn't too good. Anyway, I come over to cleave, and I drop my 4. Now, this is actually a huge mistake, because I don't get the resing player as well at the same time. I'm only hitting the body. So I can cleave the body extremely hard, but not as hard as I otherwise should. So you see this guy's quite low. He'd be like way lower, if not dead right now, if he'd been in the field as well at the same time. The field is that much pressure. He kites away, and whenever you see a Firebrand mid-res starts kiting away, you don't even really need to look at any animations. You just know it's Mercy, and I already pointed out that we've identified the passive at the start of this clip. So if you watch here, Mercy is coming. He didn't quickness cast it, so I run away and I try and Axe 3 him, but he gets an Aegis proc on it. Now, if my Reaper had just pushed slightly and managed to pop that, we would have interrupted it and we would have won this straight away. But he gets the Mercy. Okay, maybe this is the clip I was thinking of. So then we are actually in our 2v2 here. We've put good pressure out, though. And this damage here that you saw just before this last bit where the Reapers come in is largely my damage, to be honest, that we were pressuring there with. So now the Firebrand goes down. The allied Reaper comes in and does his whirl. So now it's a double down, and we have to make our decision. And what I choose to do is to go for the res, and I see the elite skill, so I block. I go for the res. That's a Well of Blood res we've got there. We go into the skill 2, which is a taunt, and I'm hoping to interrupt the enemy Reaper away. But the enemy Reaper has given himself stab and a Well of Blood, so he gets the res. So it's kind of a fun 2v2. So now we're actually in a dangerous position because my ally is lower, I estimate. Maybe that's wrong because I've got a lot of health. But I feel like we're in a bit of a scarier position here. So we continue doing our pressure. Their bunker is forced away. Bunker, I shouldn't say that. Their support is forced away. He's taking an Empower through the pillar to try and buff this guy, but this guy's out of the stuff. Our F1 comes back up, so this is a pretty big swing here. Our F1 comes up, and we immediately burn and melt this guy away. Then the enemy Firebrand has got the job of resing again. Right as my F1 leaves, I get the Axe down, and I just keep rolling autos. I'm not actually taking the 3 here, which is an interrupt. And the reason I'm not doing that is because it's quite an investment of cast time to do this, and it's likely he'll have stab or he'll block it when I don't have this guy helping as well. And the truth is, this guy can corrupt as well anyway. So I'd rather just keep rolling the autos. The other thing is, it's kind of PvE stuff here, where the final attack on the axe auto attack chain is the big hit, really. It's like a double strike and double burn and stuff, and the other ones are like only single strikes and bleed, right? It's the last one you really, really want to slam them with. Now, if you stop after a couple of auto attacks to do this, not only have you got the wind up into that and stuff, but you cancel the auto chain. So I just keep rolling this. The Firebrand gets him up to 96% before my guy comes back in, but we've kept the cleave there and the pressure there, and they're both down. So it's a bit of a staggered mirror. But we do win a mirror on this variant, which is kind of nice. Here you see a really low value judge's intervention, and I'm about to talk about that slot because that's actually going away. So let's get into the actual game now, which is actually a Skyhammer game. I can't remember the last time we did a Sky. I kind of hate this map at the moment on this builds. Here's how you win Skyhammer, guys. Legitimately, play a Reaper. And to a lesser extent, I guess, a Scourge. Like, Reaper just has so much value cleaving through walls with the on-proc effects, and it's really good in like closed-in environments, which this map often is. There's a lot of escape mechanisms on this map, but it's also forcing a lot of close quarters, and Reapers are just so dominant here. And so many games you queue into like double Reaper against you, and it's so difficult. On this build especially, it's very, very, very difficult. So anyway, you know, to get away from one of these Reapers once they start getting the cripples and the chills and things on you. Anyway, so we're going out, and so this is an NAQ, I think. Oh, maybe it was an EU. No, I think it's an NAQ. You'll notice here I've actually changed one of the utility skills. So a couple of things about the builds. You guys had a lot of suggestions and fun things to talk about. Nearly all of it I did. Oh, when I said I've tried it, I'm not lying. I've tried like most components of the Guardian class at the moment. I've tried a variant of this build that runs the Signet and like Signet Elite and like activates the Signet and Mercifuls at the last second to full heal people. I've tried the lot. So here on the last episode, I was talking a bit about Staff. I was curious about and Staff is great if you are against like duos that are hammering you very heavily and they're like in melee. It really is to kite around, and the idea being behind Staff that you can then also give yourself swiftness, and then that frees up the rune choice. It still feels really clunky though, and unless you really know that you're against a lot of Mirage pressure or something, I'm not sure about Staff. The Qs weren't that good. However, a swap I did make that was really good was changing Judges for Merciful. So it's painful getting rid of Judges. Judges is the thing that enables like that precast combo where you just nuke in on a node and you swing a fight and stuff in many situations. However, I'm beginning to believe that Merciful is just better in nearly every way. So Judges does a tiny bit of damage and a burn stack, and you can be tricked into thinking that burn stack means a lot. I don't think it actually does though. See, here's why Merciful's better. Merciful is lower cooldown, which means you can spam it more, even at your own feet, which means you trigger Monk's Focus, the heal, more, alright, straight away. So it's actually a more sustainy skill, because it will be more often up to save your life, and you get more value out of Monk's Focus as the game goes along, right? But also, it itself is a heal. It's like a 3k heal. So on top of Monk's Focus, this is actually a really substantial heal skill. This is more substantial than even a single Mantra proc. I think even with the lesser smite condition going at the same time. It's really, really big heal. It's a big heal that's on a lower cooldown, and it does still port you, and the heal is AoE. So when you run Merciful, you can support your allies more comfortably, and get this, it's still a port. You can still go in and bomb a mid-fight, because you'll hopefully have an ally there, and you can port in on the ally, and rather than doing one burn to an opponent, you've splashed a massive heal around on all your allies who are already engaged. It's more fiddly to activate because you have to ground target, so it's a little bit trickier in that way, but it's just better. It will come up again later as well, quicker. I really think I prefer the skill. And then it has the exit potential as well. If I bomb in on point C over there, and I'm in a 1v1, and I start losing, I'm against that Reaper, and I'm like, oh, I've gotta bail out. You can't really Judges out too easily. If someone's giving you a target in mid, you definitely can, and there are a lot of opportunities with that, I don't deny. And Judges is even kind of nice because you can do it beyond 1200 range to still close a massive gap. You take the target that's on the other side of the map and you press Judges, and it will still port you far away. So Judges does have a lot of nice play there, but you can still bail out with Merciful if an ally's nearby, right? And yeah, it's kind of that thing where it would really shine with intelligent allies and comms or duo queuing and stuff like that. But still, I've found that the sustain is really nice, and this game of the day hopefully will demonstrate that to some extent. Like, I was having problems shaking, like, some really good SD thieves. I was really struggling shaking, and there were just a few other little situations, but now, with Merciful, I survived just long enough, you know? You survive just long enough to, if you do eventually go down, you nearly always, like, there's a certain, like, timing and cadence to mid-fights, and if you die too quick, you're just going to be rally bait, but if you die a little bit later, you're more likely to be the one to be rallied, if that makes sense. That's a whole other discussion. Anyway, we come up towards mid. We see that there's a stealth field, so I blast in it and give us a bit of stealth. I go into F1, and here, immediately, I don't remember exactly how this game goes, by the way. This is a bit of a random game of the day here. But we port in, and we kind of do that. We approximate Judge's intervention there, but we heal our allies at the same time, too. We immediately get out. We spam utilities pretty hardcore there, but we got hit really hard as well. Looks like the Soul Beast is on us, so we've dropped down. We take healing on ourselves. We auto a bit. We get the axe up. We notice that we've got our Reaper ally here with us. We're looking at the health bars about this moment to make sure nobody's low, and they're not, so that's good. We get a kill down. Now, I could stomp this, but I'm kind of... I don't want to pop that. I've been so spammy with the mantras here. I kind of don't want to pop that last mantra. And go 5 stab purely for a little stomp there. So, I see that my guy's being pressured. Oh, no, I don't. Sorry, I'm just hitting this Reaper. We came down and we burst him. I think we put like 8 burn on him there. Yeah, 2,800 rolling on him. And it was our Doom Sigil that got the final credit there. Now we take this stomp, but we would have just dodge rolled. And, we take him out. We don't need to climb back up because we've looked at the minimap and seen that we've won mid here. And the Thief is capping with the Reaper. Now I see that my Thief is under pressure. So that's this player here. Looks a bit like a druid with the way that they got themselves set up. They port up. And I was going to support them here. And you see that they're down here again. So here, I'm merciful onto them and give them Aegis. And I actually... Let's watch that slightly slower here. Right? Because don't forget, we are sages, remember? So there's more value out of the sages aspect as well. So we merciful on, give him a 3k heal, give him Aegis, and you see the Aegis shield appears there. And then he dips back down, and I'm full-time just trying to support him right now, which is a bit silly because, you know, it's a thief. So I come down here and what he's actually using as a port spot here. So I tried to give him more support, and he disappears. Now, what's unfortunately happened there is I've kind of been baited away from mid. And I couldn't... And he goes down here now on mid. In the moment of the game, actually, I'll tell you the truth, there was a Necro on mid during most of that, and I thought that the Necro had just been bodied while I was trying to support a Thief that was porting around, and I thought it was a terrible play of mine, and I would have called myself out here on Game of the Day. It turns out it's the same Thief. Anyway, so, this is a really clunky sort of awkward res, because of all the wells. Like, they've just stacked a ton of wells here, and I don't really want to stand on them, and I know that the Thief can port. So what I'm actually doing here is I'm standing here hesitating, throwing some attacks, because I want the Thief to port, but I have another ally was rezzing it. Yeah, I did. So we've got double Thief here. We have Core Thief, SD, and we have DP, presumably, on a Daredevil there. And you can tell from the Elite Spec icons, yay. So I think he was trying to res it, so then I committed to it, thinking, all right, well, we'll double res. But then he left, and yeah, I just get bombed. So... after all is said and done, we actually lost mid there. We really want our mantra up here as well. So there I waited till the tome dropped in case I got the quickness. I didn't. The trait ICD doesn't come up too much. And my respawning or re-engaging Reaper here needs some support. I really like what this Thief did here. He came onto the no port. Oh, no, he didn't. Never mind. Never mind. Not that he was particularly vulnerable to any port stuff there, to be honest with you. So, whatever. But anyway, yeah, we support this guy. He comes up. I double tap the shield just to give him a bit more heal. The mantra is down again. I'm so spammy with these in this game. I'm not normally this spammy. I'm pretty spammy, to be honest. We get up. We want the field on the node. It's really important to do that. So I get up and I try and cover as much of it as possible. I really want my allies to kite through or something here. But here you'll notice we're pressuring this guy back here really hard. Without really looking at him. He's on no health. I don't know if you guys saw that. He's on no health. He's been forced into... Oh, you can hear because I've got target on him. He's been forced into Shroud over that. My Reaper is still really low. So what we're going to try and do is get into F3, I would think, anyway. No, I guess he goes down, and I immediately bail. Yeah, I think I'm right to do that. It's a really flimsy mid here, because... Let me just rewind this, just so that you guys can see. I don't know if you disagree with my assertion here. But, it's a flimsy mid, because we have a Mirage coming in. So we got a Mirage, we got a Reaper, and a Firebrand that we're dealing with here. Right? I think that's a Reaper. And I have a downstate Reaper, a dying Reaper, and a Thief. And the Thief's not going to be able to help res or anything. This is just awful. I don't know. This is poor play from me and the Reaper here, I think, as well, to be honest. If the Reaper was kiting with me in a sort of a better position, if we weren't so heavy here, I think I had a lot of value I could have given him out of this. Hold the line, resistance, and all of that. I think if this had gone slightly differently, we would have been alright. But we were a bit separated. You know, I was here and he was here. And I think that does lose us the fight. If they stayed more balled up as well, if the positioning was just slightly different, we would have cleaved heavier with the F1 and stuff too, and they could have all found themselves melted before the point where that Mirage rotated in. So now I'm in a situation where I don't really know where I want to go, because we're already outnumbering on close. And I see that the Thief is a bit, you know, kiting around 3 players, and he's a bit low, but before trying to support him didn't help too much. So, what I decided to do is to come back to close here, just to re-engage with... Oh, no, hold on. What? Oh, yeah, we're blue. Okay, no, so hold on. He was outnumbered. All right, so I come back and support this. Honestly, I thought that this was our outnumber there. So the Mirage does very well. You notice everyone on my team's doing reasonably well escaping, right? The Thieves are doing well escaping. My Mesmer there does well escaping. But the play was to come back to close anyway, because we want to re-engage with the Reaper when he respawns, which is exactly what's happened here. So we give him Ashes of the Just. We go for an interrupt there, but he had stability. So now we've got the full cap and we can move up. And here, like, I can gap close because I can Merciful to my ally. Anyway, he goes down. Give him Ashes of the Just as we leave again. And we got to go really quickly now because we're going to the Hammer. Which the enemy team is capping. So we're looking at this and we can see that the red bar is almost full. But I have allies coming in. Now I really like this. If my Reaper comes in here, what we can do is have a huge team fight crunch at the Hammer while my Thief just runs around decapping. Now the decaps will essentially accomplish what the Hammer will. So you might say go for full cap. But I would still say go for decap, because what that does is that gives us a win condition over time. If this fight, for some reason, stalled forever and never ended, if the Thief Thief simply decaps, we're now in a winning position because we got a node and they don't. And then you can look for the full caps later, I guess. That's what I would rather do anyway. And don't forget, even if we trigger the Hammer and the enemy team had no nodes anyway, even in that situation, we're still denying the Hammer from them. And even in that situation, if we rang that Hammer because you know they were all dead, then well, we've just killed them all and we've got 5 points from each kill and we've put them on respawn and we've got time to come back out onto the map. So anyway, we do big damage there. I think that was big damage. Let's rewatch. Let's actually see what our contribution offensively is, because that's what you guys are going to be interested in on this build. So we come into the Hammer, straight in on F1. We Ashes the Just a couple of our allies. We use the 4. So he's on 9 burn, he's on 12 burn, and in Shroud, and he's got no cleanse. I think that's 14 or 16 burn there. 12, and then yeah, he dies. So we do get a lot of pressure, a lot of meaty pressure there. He's instantly rezzed. If I'd been quicker off the mark, maybe I could have interrupted the Mercy there. We go for the Axe 3, which we get a nice double rupt, and the symbol down. I don't know, does the symbol get interrupted? Not sure. Anyway, we just got so much pressure there. They both die, and I immediately peel out. So in the meantime, we've been counter-capped on close, and mid is in the process of reclaiming. So here's where the rotations are going to get a bit weird, because this build is like, and this is possibly to its detriment, it's not a very specialized build, right? So it's a bit hybrid, and it can do sort of a variety of things. So here we head towards point A, where you see that the opposing Thief has capped, and he's going to try and 1v1 me. So we will see how we do. Now, again, I can usually struggle if I don't play it right. But we actually see the value of Merciful here, I think. So anyway, he's on short bow, just pressuring with choking gas and cluster bombs. But we have lots of reflex. We can use these kite spots quite well here. The hammer triggers, and I know he can't aggress me on the hammer, especially not the second pulse. So I come straight onto the node. I don't do this to neutralize. I do this to start full capping. He comes in, and also my skills have reset in kind of a nice way. So we have the poison again. So here he's trying to headshot, and I come immediately back up. And the game is to try and not use too many mantra charges while poison is on. I'm still holding this. I don't really care about him full capping there. And we can finally just start pressuring. Now that he needs to cap, he's going to be vulnerable. Before he could hide an LOS, right? Now that he needs to cap, I can use Scepter. I come straight onto the node and drop the ring. And if he jumps into it, he's dead in like just a couple of hits here. So we get some Monk's Focus value. A really high value Merciful Intervention. And we dropped the symbol towards where he was. The idea was to use the Axe 3 as well, but I didn't quite have the cooldown. And yeah, so anyway, we sustained that, and that's going to be a weird clip for you guys, I think, because you haven't seen enough gameplay where you know how vulnerable this otherwise can be. But so yeah, there's, you know, using the Skyhammer spots to survive long enough for a plus, basically, which is what I got there. But I think we didn't even need the plus. Basically, what we managed to do was shake him or fall on our own. So what we're watching for now is anyone to what we should be watching for is the thief to reappear on the map, which he already had. So I was wasting time there, really. I should have looked at the red thief icon. I should still be looking. They don't have double thief, do they? I'm acting like they have double. Oh, well, hold on. So this icon here, we can see that the thief's on the map, but it's standing still. And what that means is that's his last known position. And he's likely stealth, and I don't want to get decapped. And I fancy my odds in this fight. So that's actually what's going on. I really want a UI tweak here. There's so many things they could do with the minimap, but one which would grey out the icon if it's the last known position. Anyway, so we're watching, and now we see that he's at mid again, so we push up. And I'm not really being very valuable. So this is like... obviously, that did nothing for my team, me going there. But there's a question of, like, risk. Even if it did nothing for my team, it's not necessarily the worst play. It is a bad play because I could have more aggressively noticed that the thief was on reappearing on the map, and I could have moved quicker. So it's a bad play for that reason. However, let's say that he didn't appear that early on the map, and only just a little bit later, it still would have... even if it didn't do anything for us, it would have been an okay play, if that makes sense. Because sometimes it's risk assessment. Anyway, we're double taking the hammer. I don't really think I need the thief to do this. I would have rather that my thief left and, you know, plussed far or contributed over here. We've got a downstate ally. Maybe he's right because I have double thief on my team, which makes it all a little bit awkward. But I want to be able to sort of hold. Maybe he thinks I'm just like meta Firebrand, and it's like, wow, you've got your support doing nothing. You're just going to get rolled over without a DPS, so he's staying for that reason. Could be that. Anyway, we're taking heals on the Reaper. He goes into Shroud here, so we don't really have anything else we can do. I take the 2 just in case there's some condies around. I hadn't really verified. We're going to F1, so if the Reaper now kites back into this... Think of this as like a Scourge Elite. I mean, honestly, the comparison isn't that crazy. He should be coming back into this because the pressure is mad. But unfortunately, he's rotating out of it towards the node and away from my support and away from my assistance. Luckily, at Skyhammer, he goes down. So I get jumped. I'm basically 3v1 here. We have to take the pad to sustain. We take the shield. We jump to this spot, because I'm pretty sure they won't be able to do it. And you notice that the enemy Firebrand has actually come up and is using his time F1, which cleaves through walls, which is very good there. And unfortunately, he actually can still hit me with it there. The arc is not very forgiving on that, so it's kind of a pain and annoyance that he gets me with that. Anyway, we've now been trip capped against. This is a pretty good game. You know, I really didn't pick this based on much decision making here. So we've been trip capped, and my Reaper is still low, so I've got to get towards him. We've not been very valuable the past 90 seconds or so, I would say. Even longer than that, maybe. Doubling up at the hammer and whatnot. I don't know if the Mirage is coming back in. Here I'm late coming to my guy. My Mirage was fine on the node. So here we resist the body. And we spam a heal. This is res potential as well, by the way. Merciful. It's even assistance on reses. We splash towards him and heal him just a tiny little bit. We're not really getting any opportunities to damage or whatever. And I want him to push here. So I ping him and I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's push, push, push. That's their portal. Back to our close. So there's a Mesmer mirror back there. Which would be nice to support. But I think as far as my role is concerned, I shouldn't do that. I have double thief. It's the thieves' jobs to go do that. The Mesmer's, oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. It was our portal or something, maybe, and the Mesmer just came back through. Anyway, I come with the Reaper up here. We try and do a knockback in the middle of the death whirl, which would have been kind of nice, but doesn't land anywhere. We got to watch the enemy Nightfall here. All this is basically Nightfall. Wow, and an F1 there. The opposing Reaper's on me hard here, and I'm trying to support as best I can. We look at our healing there, right? Judges would not have done that. And we support the other guy really heavily. So now, finally, we're in F1, and we can unload a ton of pressure. We get both of these guys, and basically instantly cleave that body out. Like, when the burst comes, it's pretty big. They rotate off. We get the cap here. Skyhammer's going to be in 15 seconds. Both thieves are looking to assist the Mesmer, which is nice. My Reaper is staying with me. I'm concerned about a decap on close. And indeed, it's arrived there as well. I try and give this guy a little bit. So I'm merciful towards him. And I try and give him Ashes the Just at the same time. I don't know about this. I mean, this is like... Because I think I can defend myself here against a thief in a 1v1. I think I can. And that's what we're about to see, I guess. But I have kind of abandoned... It's like, what would I rather happen? A mirror over here? Thief? Or me v thief? And double thief in mid, you know? And I don't know. Anyway, so we do try and take this. So this is like huge defense for ourselves. We know we're basically safe while this is up. He goes to headshot spam, i.e. a pulmonary. Since I know that he's doing that, I swap to F3 and I drop a bubble, but then he swaps back, so I get out of F3. I could have held that shield, honestly. I could have given myself Aegis with the shield as well there. Here I preemptively drop a symbol on myself. And we take full cap. Now we come here to kite, just in case he's still around. But we notice as soon as we do that we break combat and he's appeared elsewhere on the map. So we don't need to be there anymore. I can't just sit there AFK on the odd chance that he might decap again. I do have two very fast rotating guys on my team too. I noticed he's actually being hunted as well, and my ally is cluster bombing quite smartly in the right area there as well. So I move over towards the hammer. We put our pressure on the nodes and get the Reaper. There's another Mercy here, so this is really fun. We've hit this so hard. Let's watch this slowly, all right? Okay, because there's a mechanical Mercy, I think. I mean, I used to be very familiar with it, back from the old War Banner days and stuff. Everyone knew about this, right? So the Reaper's low. We don't have our heal mantra up. We, Ashes of the Just, and we use the 4. Now, what you'll notice here is as we strike this body, right, and we get 11 burn, poison, some other stuff, right? There is a Mercy in progress here. You just saw it. And the Reaper is on 24% health. We've hit it this hard. Next Condi tick comes in. It's at 13% health. And it has poison on it. Now, poison reduces healing effectiveness by 33%. 20%? 33%? So what that means is Mercy will attempt to heal 100% of his health. But because he's so low and poisoned, it will be reduced by 33. So it will only do 33%. So if he's lower than that, or lower than 20%, it won't fully res him. So it goes to 99, but he's still downstate. Look at that. And we can then resume our cleave and burn stacks and stuff. And we can kill the Reza as well now at the same time. They get reinforcements. And that was huge there, really, that the team had just enough pressure to get through that Mercy signet. If we didn't have just enough pressure to do that, that would have been a res right as this miraging comes, right? And that would have been awful. So finally, I take my mantra back, which procs lesser smite condition as well, which is nice. We don't run through all the charges. Or we shouldn't. Okay, no, we do. We just spam it out hard. We make sure to stay in tome F1 long enough to get the next field down, which again is just like to cleave that out nice and quick. And with that hammer one, it's pretty good. We see that the opposing DP thief is stealthing. I take a shield 5 just over the smoke field, just in case he's still there, trying to get extra stealth or whatever. And under the protection of the hammer, I come and defend this. And that's it. I think that's pretty much the win. I don't think that they can do anything from here. I stay at the node. So we did see on the minimap that the thief jumped my thief and then stealthed again. He might come back to this node. I think I remember this. And I think he's in stealth and he comes back to the nodes. But he sees I'm still defending it. This is our own. This is like a big win condition for us right now. So we have a portal there as well. So I guess I rotate off because of the portal. All right. So this is I don't know. This is kind of weird. No, hold on. We don't have a portal. I looked at my own symbol and saw that we had thought it was a portal there, thinking this was a terrible play for a second. Okay, we don't have a portal, so that's good. So what's going through my mind is right here as I'm leaving, I see he reappears on the minimap in line of sight of my thief. So because of that, I know he's still sniffing around. So I come back because we have a 100-point buffer. I don't know. This isn't... I mean, I shouldn't really be back pointing. I don't know. Anyway, it's okay. I don't even reclaim the cap value. So I come back down and seeing that he was nearby, well, look, he's... And you'd be pretty frustrated to be this DP thief right now. Because, like... it doesn't feel good to waste so much time here. By me, essentially, I'm wasting a ton of time unless he was here, in which case it's all validated. So I hold. We're winning the engagements elsewhere as well, so it's fine. I can rely on my teammates on this game. So here's the thing. I'm kind of lucking out here because they're doing well on the other engagements, right? And thus this is working. Quite often in solo queues, you can't do that. Because if you start doing well in solo queues, the game will seek to equalize the rating by giving you really bad allies, basically. So that the teams are matched. And as soon as that happens, like, they can't be trusted. And you have to be at every big engagement to swing every big engagement. Otherwise, it's over. Which is why this feels a bit weird. Anyway, so there you go. There's the game. We get healing and revives. We were pretty supporty that game, to be honest. Pretty supporty, but with just enough pressure to be able to kick away any 1v1 aggression, and just enough pressure to you know, help some of the big engagements actually get the bodies to stay down. So yeah, I don't know, kind of a fun one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you for more Game of the Day tomorrow.